Okay, we're back. Sorry about the technical difficulties, everybody. Had to bring the camera back, but thank you for joining. If you are here live, we just had to restart for a quick second, but we are back. So what are we doing tonight? If you saw before, we're working in Unreal Engine. Cool. So now that we're back, what are we doing tonight? Well, we are working in Unreal Engine and we are making a cinematic. We're going to go live on Instagram as well. So let me bring that up. Give me 1 second, everybody. Sweet. Cool. Everything is looking good. Cool. All right, everybody. Thanks for being patient. I've just been setting up a couple different live options here from Instagram. We're going live tonight. We're going live on PC, so it's been a little bit of a troubleshoot, but we finally got it going. So thanks for joining. We got this going. Let's do it. We're jumping into Unreal Engine 5. If you're on Instagram, you can follow me. If you're on YouTube, you can follow me, but we're going live on both. So what are we creating tonight? Well, in Unreal Engine, we're going live and creating a cinematic. So what is a cinematic? Unreal Engine could be used for a lot of different things, creating video games. Unreal Engine could be used for real estate, ArcViz. I like to use it for film and animation. So if you're just chiming in, we're live on Instagram and YouTube. If you want to catch the better stream, check out the YouTube link. I see Sark in the YouTube. I see Josh in the Instagram. So we're going live on both channels. So check this out. We're making a cinematic, and this is our set. Our set is, I guess you'd call it Japan, a Japan city at night. You can see our ground. Our ground's got a lot of, reflections, really shiny. Sark, I see you, dude. And if you're just joining on Instagram, what's up to everybody on Instagram? If you want to go on YouTube, click the link in my story. So, enough setting it up. I'm happy you guys are here tonight. You can see me on my live stream. What up, Sark? We're going to do a couple things. So in our set in Unreal Engine, Japan at night. What is Josh say? Japan just announced reopening next month. Good timing, for sure. So let me walk you around Unreal Engine. This window right here is our viewport. This is where we're going to see our entire scene play out. Down here in the bottom is our sequencer. This is where we do all of our editing. Josephine, what is up? Let me give a quick shout out to Josephine Miller. I see her on the YouTube channel. I see a couple people on Instagram. Josephine's been crushing it, making some awesome Instagram content, filters, AI art. It's been pretty badass. What's up? Thanks for joining. So back to Unreal Engine. We got our viewpoint here. We got our editor down here. So if you've ever edited in Premiere Pro, Final Cut, this linear editor is going to feel really familiar, and it's not that hard to work around. So I'm going to hit play down here and just kind of give you a bird's eye view of my scene. Right now I have a character that's running down the street. Another character is going to cut off that character, and they're going to have a little showdown where this character and this character are going to face off. That's kind of where I've left off. Tonight I want to add some VFX, some editing. Now, if we go to our sequencer down here and we click this camera, you could actually see the cinematic view. This is actually what I'm aiming for it to look like. So you can kind of get a sense of the different camera cuts, the focal length, the different movement in the camera, kind of starting to lay out different cameras and use our sequencer to kind of build this cinematic scene that has a little bit of character. So different camera angles, close-ups of our characters, wides, tights, that whole deal. And if you have any questions, I'm kind of just going free tonight. We're both on Instagram and YouTube, so if you're not subscribed to YouTube, definitely please subscribe. It would mean a lot. We just passed 2,600 subscribers, and we do a lot of stuff on Livestream. I'm gonna try to do more. But yeah, this is our scene. So what's really cool about Unreal Engine, and the main reason why I'm switching from Cinema 4D and Octane, that's breaking news for anybody that's watching, is this real time. Real time has changed everything for me. To be able to play back these keyframe animations and see a low res real time render in my viewport before I spit out a high res render is everything. It actually feels like I'm on a movie set. Even when I'm looking at a different camera angle in a live view, since I'm using Unreal Engine, I could click and move any asset in my set in real time, which is huge because you can make changes on the fly real easily. So when I was building this set, adding different objects or removing them, being able to come out of my camera view and just edit the entire scene right there in real time and not have to wait for renders is pretty awesome. Yeah, Josephine, you are very welcome. I'm trying to manage 2 streams here, so if I miss your message in the chats, whether you're on Instagram, Josh, smash that like button for sure. But I appreciate everybody watching on both channels. So now that we have our scene kind of built out, again, we'll run through it. We have our character who runs up this street. He's running away from something, and this character's going to jump down, cut him off, give him a little taunt. They're going to face off in a little bit of a showdown. I want to give these angles right here. It kind of reminds me of like an old Western, where you kind of see like the far panning of the characters. And then a tight to maybe add some dialogue when we do post-production. And a quick little 30-second scene. Now, what I want to point out here is we're not doing it in vertical video. This isn't for Reels. We're actually doing this wide format 4K. So we're trying to replicate our camera to replicate a movie camera, a cinema camera. So you probably see myself typing in this top right area. No sound, DJ. That's weird. Can't you hear me? Sound working for me. Sorry, Joe. It sounds like the sound's working. You can't see it on the Instagram stream. I'll bring up the camera. If you go on YouTube, you'll be able to see this menu. But if I actually search for my cameras here, all these settings replicate a real camera setting. So you can see I have my censored width to 64 to 27 height, and that actually represents a cinema camera. You have your focal length here, my current aperture, my current focal length is 85 millimeter. That's the kind of that's the length I like to use when I'm creating cinema cameras. Audio is all good on YouTube. Heck yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, Josephine. So if you've never used Unreal Engine, please ask questions because I know I could be going quick. I'm just freestyling tonight. But this left side is, if you ever use Cinema 4D or Blender, it's your object outline. Same exact thing. You have your objects, your cameras. I'm very disorganized right now with no nulls, but your entire scene from lighting, you can see if I turn off my lights, how it changes in the scene, is all in this menu. So if you've never used Unreal Engine, don't get intimidated. The pretty much whole setup is very similar to a Blender or Cinema 4D. even like a Premiere Pro, to be honest. So let's go through our scene. I got this guy running through the street. And when this guy jumps, I want to add some like particles. Maybe some like smoke to his feet. And what I love about Unreal Engine, it comes with the Epic Game Store, which gives you a bunch of free materials. Free from literally everything. Everything I could think of, from like sparks, fire, smoke, VFX. It's all included for free. And Epic Games is really good every month at releasing free assets that you could practice. The IMC Lab, Unreal rocks. I feel that. You trying to run away from me? I was watching your first stream. Jameson, this looks amazing. Thanks, dude. Yeah, my bad. We had some camera trouble stream on the first stream, so I had to restart. But for everybody that's joining in, this is the scene we're editing. A little cinematic in Unreal Engine 5. And if you're just joining in, again, these are all from Epic Assets. So let's find some real particle effects. Maybe something I could bring in. For example, like smoke, some steam. If we drop it here, let me get out of my camera view. You can kind of see this emitter live. Everything's in real time. So now I'm able to kind of look around my scene and add this steam. So our first angle of our scene starts here. So let's see if I can just add these little details. Starting to bring them up. So now you can see we kind of have like this steam coming out of the sidewalk, adding character to our scene. So just like that, with no emitters, no particles to create, I was able to take this free particle emitter asset that's already created and drop it in my scene. So I'm gonna do that a couple more times and see what else we could add to our scene. Here we got some smoke, which is nice to add some character. And you can see as our camera travels through, it's going to go through the smoke and actually work, which is cool. So you can see the camera goes through, and then you also see it in the back. And it's moving in real time. Again, all this is in real time. Niagara Particles VFX, so powerful. The IMC Lab. 100%. This comment's coming from the Instagram live stream. If you're watching on YouTube, we're also on Instagram tonight, trying something new. The IMC Lab says Niagara Particles and VFX are so powerful, for sure. Unreal Engine. This is what took me from Octane and Cinema 4D. The real time, I'll be able to view these, edit them. Really makes this way fun again. I haven't had this much fun creating 3D in a while. Don't get me wrong, I love Octane and Cinema 4D, but when I use them, you know, it just didn't feel fluid. So let's try an explosion. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, that's perfect. What I want to do is when our robot jumps down, I want that explosion to hit the ground, right? So let's go down our street. If you ever played video games, a lot of the video games are made on Unreal Engine. But the cool thing is, all these characters in a lot of these games are able to use, and this robot we're using is one of them. So when this robot hits the ground, that's when I want my particle effect to hit. So to animate things, and I might be doing this wrong, so if you're in the chat, call it out, our sequencer down here. Whenever you want to animate something, you have to drag it from your content menu, your outliner, into your timeline. I see we lost the camera again on YouTube. We're just gonna leave the camera off tonight. I don't know what's going on. Something's going on with the camera. We'll just turn it off for now. Sweet. So yeah, so that's our scene with the robot jumping down. Jameson Parker says, this looks amazing. Thanks, dude. And now that we have it in here, we should be able to add some animations to it. Let's see. If we add a target track, activate it when he lands. Let's see if that works. Deactivate. Activate. Okay, let's see if that works. Oh, it's a little slow. Let's bring this back. That didn't do it. Yeah, so what I'm trying to do is when this robot lands, we add that spark. It's a little off timing, so let's move it forward just a little. Nice. There we go. So when our character lands, we have a nice little... I see a comment. Yo, Dave, do you still live in Miami? Rome. Yes, 305, baby. We're coming live from Miami. Josephine says, this is blowing my mind. I need to make the jump into Unreal Engine ASAP. Yeah, I won't lie. It blew my mind too, for real. So let's see how the scene's feeling out now. It's a little early, but it's still got a cool effect. Yeah, Josephine, Unreal Engine has been... I took this month to really study it. I haven't been on social media that much because I just wanted to have free time and learn it insides out, and it's been one of my favorites. Between this and Spark AR, which I know you have been advancing really awesome. Like your last few effects are pretty great. Those are like my two favorites right now. But I'm addicted to making these cinematics. They're really fun. Cool. So if you're just joining on Instagram or YouTube, we're streaming on both for a little tonight, and we're making an Unreal Engine cinematic. If you just joined, we're working with Niagara and particle effects, but we're just getting our scene going. Rome says on Instagram, I was worried about you. Nah, I'm all good. I appreciate it. It's amazing to hear you were just away studying and learning this. Yeah, for anybody that's looking to learn Unreal Engine and feels like they might be intimidated or want to learn it, one, you can ask me any questions. You got me on the DMs. But two, there are so many good resources on YouTube that I could think of. Winbush is one of them. I'll post them in the chat, and I'll send them on. I'll put them, send them out to anybody that asks. But Winbush has been amazing. Punisher has been amazing. There's just so many resources for Unreal Engine that it was just fun, easy to learn. And if you have any, if you ever spend time in programs like Premiere Pro, programs like, any linear editing program, this will feel similar. Rome the Prophet on Instagram says, you are an incredibly talented dude. I'm always impressed and would love to see what's next. Yes, sir. Keep tuned in, and we're going to be doing it. And Josephine on YouTube says, this is such a great idea. Honesty. I feel that. So if you want to learn Unreal Engine, hit me up. I'll point you towards all the stuff you need to know, and maybe we could collab. Who knows? Maybe we can make something awesome together. So let's get back to our scene. I think I want to still add some more smoke VFX to our scene. So you can see what I love about this is I could select my Steam in real time. I think, where did I put it? Right here. Copy, paste, and drag another Niagara effect. Like right here. I want to move it all the way down by our character in the beginning. Cool. Now, if you're using Unreal Engine, still dying to voice one of these characters you're creating, says Joe. Joe, I will hit you up. That's on Instagram. Let's see. Rome the Prophet says, so I have a project I've been thinking for years. Can I still take you up on that coffee date in Miami? I live here too. Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's go grab a coffee. 100%. All right. So, adding steam, adding smoke, it's starting to come to life. Now, one thing I love about Unreal Engine, in our outliner, if I look for post-processing volume, what this is this applies effects to our whole scene, right? So you could see here I have chromatic aberration, and I can turn it all the way up or all the way down, and it kind of gives an effect to the character. I have things like motion blur, lens flare. I'm actually going to turn our lens flare up a little bit, so you can see when I turn it up, you have lens flares hitting the camera. So now when I play the scene, you can see those lens flares bouncing off the light into the camera. It's a little strong, but let's see if we could change that. That's actually looking all right. Again, real time. Everything's real time. So I can even play this scene. Let's see. I can play the scene and adjust my parameters in real time and see how it looks, which is unbelievable. The ability to do that in real time was one of the factors of why I'm really deciding to take on Unreal Engine this year as one of my main content creating machines. Jameson Parker, they come from Houdini and Embergen. Yes, good call, dude. Embergen as an Octane user. Let's see if I can bring that up on the stream real quick. If you've never used Embergen, it's pretty awesome. One second here. We're gonna learn some new stuff together. Thanks, Jameson. That's a good call. Let's see if I can bring it up on the stream. 1 second, everybody. If you're on YouTube, give me 1 second. If you're on Instagram, you probably see it on my screen. Embergen. All right, Embergen is loading. I'm running a lot on my computer right now, so give a second. While that's loading, we'll continue with this scene here. Did you see the comment about that one, about the plugin? No. Do you mind saying that again? So, if you're on the YouTube live stream, you should see this screen. This is called Embergen. And what Embergen is a real-time node-based fluid editor where you can make VDBs, animated fog, animated explosions. It's all in real time. Comes with a bunch of awesome presets. So if you've never used Embergen, definitely give it a check. It's pretty awesome. But let's get back to the scene. Cool. Just a reminder, I see some new people jumping in on Instagram. We're live on YouTube as well. So I'm trying to manage both comments. Joe Fiorell says, once the world is built, do you have the ability to switch out camera angles and shots? Yes, you do. That's a great question, Joe. You could definitely switch around camera angles and shots. For example, here is our run camera. If we go to our run camera and we decide, hey, we want to turn it into a zoom lens instead of a wide angle lens, we could do that right there. So instead of it being so wide, why don't we actually do that? I actually kind of like having it a little more tight on our character. There we go. Cool. So again, in real time, our character scene's coming together. Our character's running down the street. He gets cut off. Let's bring it back from the beginning. Character starts running down the street. Cut to camera 2, back to camera 1. Then on camera 1, our character is cut off by our enemy. this giant robot that cuts to camera 3, back to camera 1, and they face off. Then we have some outside cameras here that kind of look at our characters, and then it's on. So that's kind of where we're landed at so far this evening. Jameson on YouTube, did you see the comment above that one about the plugin? Sorry, I'm not sure why I'm not seeing it, dude. My bad. And if you're live on Instagram, Biscayne Coffee, Rome, everybody that's joined in, I appreciate you joining tonight. And if you want to see anything in the scene, call it out. I'm more than happy to try different things. Cool, so we've added the explosion to our character when he flies down. We got our main angle. For this angle, I actually want to add some smoke. So let's go back to our Niagara effects and click smoke. Chop some smoke right here. Let's actually back out of our camera view really quick. Back into our camera. Oh, that's a little too much smoke. Still a little too much smoke. Just want it kind of like at his feet. There we go. So again, little by little, building out this scene. Now we got some nice smoke in front of our character that he walks through, which is cool. Now, one thing about this scene setting that I like, let me get out of my cameras and actually walk you guys through our set. So it's a pretty big set, to be honest. You have everything from city streets to buildings in the background. If you go close, you can see the buildings are just kind of off on their own. It really comes together when you're down here on this street with our characters. What I love about this, you got some neon lighting. And again, this was all found on Epic Marketplace. So if you ever use Unreal Engine, Epic Marketplace is a cool place to find all these different scenes. So yeah, that's a look at our set. Now, if we go back into our sequencer, again, anytime I'm down in the sequencer, you're seeing the actual cameras of the scene and the actual cuts of how we kind of want this scene to come together. What I love about the sequencer, it's easy. Each one of these blocks is a camera. So if you want to extend a scene, you can just kind of grab a clip, extend it, and it stays there. The camera will stay as long as you want. So it's really easy to have different camera angles. Steve Turk, we see you on YouTube. What's up, dude? And it's really cool to be able to do that. Sweet. 1 second, guys. We're having some camera issues again on YouTube. I don't know what's going on here tonight, but yeah, the camera system is messed up that I'm using. All good. So back to this view, we added some smoke. Let's add some more Niagara smoke in the background. So it kind of seem repetitive, but from what I've found, adding little touches like this in your scene do bring it to life. You know, we might not see this directly in our camera, but having these little steam, cool. All right, what's up to everybody on YouTube that's joining? I see Steve, I see Josephine, I see Jameson, I see Joe, Sarkis. What's up, everybody? Our camera went out tonight, so bear with me. I'm still working through. This is my first live stream in I don't know how long, so I'm still working through some issues. All right, let's play through our scene one more time. Now, I like to imagine music dialogue when I'm editing. So maybe while he's running here, we hear sound effects of him breathing, music, footsteps. A robot comes in with a big smash and explosion. I want to give the robot some dialogue so it says something to our character, like taunting him, especially when it pounds on its chest and puts its fists up. Then right here where you have the face-off, I want to have some dialogue between them both. And then when it comes close to our character, I want him to say something to the robot, pull his gun out, load it, and the scene will end. It's actually looking pretty decent for the work we've done on it tonight. I want to try adding one more thing tonight before we call it a stream, and that is adding a new camera. Oh, Steve, thanks for the sub. I appreciate it. So, how do we do that? How do we add a camera to our scene and play around? Well, I'm just going to copy and paste one of our cameras that we have already. Let's copy this one. I'm actually going to now select it, right click, and hit, let's see. Let's actually bring it to our sequencer first. Okay, so I just created a new camera. And I'm going to show you how you can kind of set up your camera. Let's actually get a wide. I want to get a super wide of them. So you remember when I said you could change the focal length of your camera? That's exactly what we're going to do here. I'm going to bring a super wide angle. Let's go 25 millimeter. And I want to hit like a street level face-off angle here. You can see our character's a little up off the ground. We'll fix that when we add a second animation. But that's pretty much how you add cameras. There's this little plus button up here. This add and plus button in Unreal Engine is how you add everything. This is how you add lights, shapes, virtual production. What we just added, a cinematic camera actor. That's your cameras in Unreal Engine. So if you're new to Unreal Engine, this green plus here, when you click it, this menu comes up. So all these different things that you could add to Unreal Engine. So that's one of your main buttons you're going to be using a lot, especially in Unreal Engine 5. Cool. So up here in our sequencer, if we move throughout our sequence, how do we add that wide camera we just created? Well, I'm going to find a time and place where I like to have the camera. In camera cuts in our sequencer, we're going to hit the plus button and just go ahead and select our camera. And then it adds to our sequencer. So the character looks a little funny on the wide angle, but I'm just doing this to kind of show you what it looks like when you change camera angles. So now we have this little face off right here. You can see our character resets. So why is that? If we select our character, it automatically brings it down here in the sequencer. It's because these little purple lines, I don't have any animation for our character. That animation looks a little funny. We got a couple minutes here. We're going to be signing off at 9 o'clock tonight. Just a quick hour stream. I just want to show you guys what I'm working on. Have some fun in Unreal Engine. Hopefully you learned something. But this scene's starting to come together. From adding our buildings earlier, building our set, adding our characters, building our sequencer timeline. So we have our different shots. We added some Niagara particle effects like this smoke and the explosion when our antagonist jumps on the scene. We added different camera angles like this wide camera angle and this low tight of our character, this over the shoulder. We added post-processing to our scene, so things like this lens flare, the color correction, the depth of field, image effects, vignette, all that was added as well. And once we render this out in post-production, we're going to add audio, maybe some more coloring techniques to maybe bring the saturation down a little bit. Looking awesome and super helpful. Thank you, Ladina Battle says on IG. And I see Know the Robot. What's up, dude? I love what you've been making. If you just joined on YouTube or on IG, we're working in Unreal Engine tonight and creating a cinematic scene. So we've built our set. We kind of have these animations of our characters facing off. We have the Niagara and particle effects. On YouTube, Jameson Parker says, I honestly learned a lot. I'll be on the lookout for more of these. Thank you. Heck yeah, dude. We'll be doing a lot more live streams on YouTube and Instagram the next few weeks. So look forward to it. I'm glad you learned something. That's what it's all about. Follow me on Instagram if you're not already followed, the David Turk. Sub to the YouTube channel, and I'll make sure to help you out whenever you need it. What else did we do tonight? We learned about, if you're new to Unreal Engine, thank you for sharing your progress. It's super helpful, has gotten me over my fear of starting Unreal Engine, says Josephine Miller on YouTube. Josephine, you know, I have to send you a quick thank you because you helped me get over my fear of Spark AR. So the favor is returned. Watching you do your thing in Spark AR has been super inspiring. So I really appreciate the comment, 100%. Know the Robot, this looks awesome, man. Excited to see where this goes. That's a comment on our Instagram live stream. Know the Robot, know_the_robot. If you're not following him, please do. It's a virtual avatar character on Instagram that is making awesome work with AI art, augmented reality, killer stuff. All right, let's look at our scene one more time. What else did we learn? If you're new to Unreal Engine, we talked about our outliner. That's this window right here that outlines your whole scene. So if you ever use Blender or Cinema 4D and you understand that in this top corner, every one of your objects could be found, your lighting, your objects, splines, etc., that's there. We talked about the Epic Marketplace, where you could find free assets like these city buildings that I used to build this set. Materials like this wet, reflective ground surface. We talked about Niagara particles, where you could create steam and smoke for your scene to add some character. And we also talked about cameras. So when you look at the scene, this is important. I want to talk about this before I sign off, and this is what I love about Unreal Engine. When you look at the scene, you know, from a level angle like this, it doesn't look like much. You know, it kind of looks, I don't know, like a bird eyes view of video game. You could see when you're not in your sequencer, like right here, for example, when the character's done running, his animation stops, but the camera in the sequencer doesn't focus on him. So I'm allowed to kind of change his character and prep him for the next shot when he's on camera. So what I mean by that is, if you go to our sequencer, he's running, he stops. Let me actually pull this out. Our character stops, and then it focuses on the giant robot. So when it focuses on him, we don't see our other character until he's kind of prepped in his next position for camera. So when you think about building your scenes, think about it like playing with your toys as a kid. That's kind of how I think about it. Sometimes you just got to build your setting, pick your characters, how they're going to stand. I usually like to develop my scene and characters in this view. And then once I got something I like a lot, I start adding my characters and then start building out the cinematic sequence. So you can see how different this shot looks of a close-up of our character with bokeh and aperture versus something like this. So it's really important to remember camera basics, shoot with a camera in real life. I always tell people this: if you shoot with a video camera or photo camera in real life, it's going to help you a lot when translating to digital camera systems in Unreal Engine or Cinema 4D or Blender, whatever you're using. Cool. So before we sign off, it's almost 9 o'clock. I want to say thanks to everybody that joined tonight. Sorry the camera on me went down, but we'll make sure we get that working next time. This is our scene. Just to review it one more time. I am definitely going to render this out overnight to see how it feels at full quality. But tomorrow night we'll probably jump back into it and do some post-production. We'll talk about adding audio, adding video, all that fun stuff. So again, thanks for everybody for joining the stream. Awesome. We'll see you next time.